At 3 am my security cam caught her text, "Coast is clear, he's dead asleep." I knocked on the door and both panicked like criminals caught in a federal raid. I'm Nathan Cole, 41 years old, and for 14 years I believed my marriage to Lauren was built on the same foundation as my career: systematic security and unwavering commitment to protection. We lived in a custom smart home in Westchester County, the kind of property that whispers technological sophistication through integrated surveillance systems and automated security that I'd personally designed and installed. I ran a residential security consulting firm specializing in high-end protection systems for Fortune 500 executives and celebrities who needed fortress-level privacy in their personal lives. Lauren managed client relations for Sterling Wealth Management, handling portfolios for tech moguls and entertainment industry executives who valued discretion above all else. To our professional network, we were the tech-savvy couple who had mastered both digital innovation and domestic security. To me, we were partners building something permanent through shared protocols and mutual trust. To Lauren, as I was about to discover, we were apparently just sophisticated cover for her real operations. My security consulting background teaches you that the most dangerous threats are insider attacks, conducted by trusted individuals who exploit legitimate access to bypass every security measure you've established. The red flags in my marriage accumulated like anomalous network activity in a compromised system, each one small enough to dismiss individually, but devastating when analyzed with systematic precision. February brought Lauren's sudden fascination with my work schedule, asking detailed questions about client installations and emergency response protocols with curiosity that seemed supportive rather than reconnaissance. She'd mentioned how impressed she was by my dedication to protecting high-value targets, always positioning herself as the understanding spouse who never complained about late-night security alerts or weekend system maintenance. March introduced weekend wellness retreats that required overnight stays at exclusive spas, always coinciding with my most demanding security installations, when I'd be working 18-hour days implementing protection protocols for corporate executives facing credible threats. April saw the introduction of mysterious client consultations she'd take in other rooms, speaking in hushed tones about portfolio management strategies that required extensive private discussion. When I offered to review her security protocols for handling sensitive financial information, she'd explain that client confidentiality made sharing details inappropriate before deals were finalized. May brought the dead bedroom situation that developed like systematic network infiltration, gradual, methodical, designed to achieve specific access without triggering security alerts. Lauren always had legitimate reasons for avoiding intimacy: exhaustion from demanding clients, stress from market volatility, hormonal fluctuations that killed her desire for physical connection. But she had endless energy for client entertainment events, investment conferences, and portfolio review sessions that somehow never generated measurable career advancement despite months of professional development. June introduced David Chen, a senior investment advisor who existed only in carefully edited professional stories. She'd mention him casually, always in business contexts, describing him as a colleague helping her navigate complex regulatory requirements and institutional relationships. Looking back, I realized she was conditioning me to accept his presence in her professional communications, making him seem boring and technical rather than exciting and dangerous. July brought client networking events at exclusive venues, always coinciding with my federal contract deadlines when I'd be completely unavailable for verification or participation. The breaking point came on a Tuesday night in late September that would expose 14 years of marriage as elaborate operational deception. I'd been conducting final security testing for a Fortune 500 CEO facing corporate espionage threats, working through complex penetration scenarios until my eyes burned from screen analysis. Around 2:30 a.m., I decided to check our home security dashboard one final time before bed, a habit so ingrained that I performed it unconsciously, like locking doors or setting alarms. Our integrated security system logged everything: motion sensors, door contacts, camera feeds, network traffic, and most importantly, the family device synchronization system that I'd installed for emergency coordination. As I scrolled through routine status updates, one notification made my blood freeze with professional recognition of systematic security breach. Lauren's phone had automatically synced a text message to our family emergency system at 2:47 a.m. "Coast is clear, he's dead asleep. Side entrance sensors disabled as discussed. Text when you're at the kitchen door." The message was addressed to DC, with a phone number I didn't recognize, but the operational precision made my security instincts scream: This wasn't spontaneous communication. This was coordinated infiltration that demonstrated months of systematic reconnaissance and security analysis. Lauren was providing real-time intelligence about my location and system status to facilitate unauthorized access to our protected home environment. I pulled comprehensive security logs spanning 6 months, cross-referencing Lauren's communication patterns with my travel schedule, emergency response deployments, and system maintenance windows. The data revealed devastating patterns. Text messages coordinating Coast is clear confirmations during my federal contract work, systematic discussions about security system vulnerabilities, and most damaging, detailed conversations about my sleep patterns and response protocols that would allow undetected access to our home. At exactly 2:52 a.m., I heard Lauren slip out of our bedroom and move through the house with practiced stealth, checking my office to confirm I was safely contained before proceeding with whatever operation she'd been coordinating. Her footsteps followed routes that avoided primary motion sensors, suggesting she'd been studying our security architecture for months. The woman I'd trusted with 14 years of my life was conducting reconnaissance on my location to facilitate someone else's unauthorized access to our protected space. Instead of confronting her immediately and allowing emotional reactions to compromise my tactical advantage, I made a strategic decision that would transform me from victim to hunter. I activated our home's Silent Watch protocol, a covert surveillance mode I designed for corporate executives facing insider threats. Every camera, microphone, and sensor would operate at maximum sensitivity while appearing to function normally, creating comprehensive documentation of any security breach. Then came the moment that would activate every security protocol I'd ever designed. At 3:03 a.m., I received the notification that changed everything. Lauren's text to David Chen saying, "Coast is clear, he's dead asleep." The words carried operational precision that confirmed months of planning and systematic security compromise. She wasn't just having an affair. She was conducting systematic security operations that exploited my trust and professional expertise to facilitate unauthorized infiltration of our home. Instead of rushing downstairs for an emotional confrontation, I walked calmly to our front door and knocked. 3 firm, deliberate knocks that said I knew exactly what was happening. The security expert had just activated, and Lauren had no idea that her systematic security compromise was about to be exposed using the same counterintelligence techniques I employed to protect Fortune 500 executives from exactly this type of insider threat. The 3 deliberate knocks echoed through our smart home like a security breach alarm, each sound carrying the weight of 14 years of systematic deception exposed through technical precision. Through my phone's security app, I watched the live feed from multiple camera angles. Lauren frozen in our kitchen doorway, David Chen crouched behind our granite island like a burglar caught in searchlights, both processing the impossible reality that the dead-asleep husband was awake and at the front door. Their panic was immediate and devastating. David bolted toward our back door, triggering motion sensors throughout the house while Lauren frantically whispered damage control instructions. I remained at the front door, delivering 2 more measured knocks that said I knew exactly what was happening. Then I walked calmly back to my office, activated our home's Silent Watch protocol, and began the most important security investigation of my career. Our integrated surveillance system had captured everything with forensic precision. David's vehicle arriving at 2:58 a.m. with headlights disabled, Lauren's systematic security compromise from inside our protected perimeter, and most importantly, their panicked response that proved months of operational planning. The boring, predictable husband had just documented systematic insider threats using the same counterintelligence protocols I employed for Fortune 500 executives. Instead of pursuing them through emotional confrontation, I spent the next hour conducting systematic evidence preservation using chain-of-custody protocols that would satisfy any legal scrutiny. I filmed continuous screen capture, documented timestamps, and exported encrypted forensic images to multiple secure drives. Lauren's phone had been automatically syncing to our family emergency system, creating comprehensive records of her security compromise that no amount of gaslighting could explain away. The digital evidence was overwhelming and technically irrefutable. Motion sensor logs showed David's regular unauthorized presence during my federal contract deployments. Network analysis revealed his phone connecting to our guest Wi-Fi for months, and audio recordings captured operational discussions about my security protocols and sleep patterns. Lauren had been providing real-time intelligence about my location and system vulnerabilities to facilitate systematic infiltration of our protected home environment. At 6:30 a.m., while Lauren performed her usual morning routine with theatrical precision, I contacted Jake Morrison, a former NSA counterintelligence specialist who now handled corporate security breaches requiring sophisticated investigation. Your wife's conducting textbook operational security, Jake observed during our secure video call. Systematic reconnaissance, tactical coordination, exploitation of administrative access. This demonstrates insider knowledge that goes beyond adultery into potential corporate espionage. Jake's preliminary research on David Chen revealed disturbing patterns that extended far beyond simple infidelity. David wasn't just a senior investment advisor. He had multiple professional violations, two quiet settlements involving inappropriate client relationships, and pending SEC inquiries disguised as routine compliance reviews. More importantly, he was married to Dr. Patricia Chen, a corporate cybersecurity attorney who specialized in financial crimes and had been quietly building her own case against David's suspicious activities. Within 48 hours, Jake had enhanced my existing surveillance capabilities with additional monitoring layers that would document every aspect of their continuing operations. Advanced pattern recognition software, enhanced audio processing, and financial transaction monitoring created comprehensive intelligence gathering that would survive aggressive legal challenge while protecting my business interests from further compromise. The investigation revealed that Lauren and David had been conducting their affair with operational sophistication that impressed even Jake's intelligence background. They'd researched my client deployment patterns, studied our security architecture, and developed contingency plans including my unexpected early return. But they'd made the classic insider threat error, underestimating the comprehensive monitoring capabilities of someone who designs protection systems for executives facing sophisticated threats. Jake's financial analysis uncovered systematic security compromise that could have exposed my Fortune 500 clients to competitive intelligence gathering. They've been using your home as an operational base, Jake explained with professional concern. David's been photographing documents from your office. Lauren's been accessing your client communications. This isn't just adultery, it's systematic intelligence theft that could compromise national security contractors. The breakthrough that would destroy them completely came when Jake arranged a meeting with Dr. Patricia Chen through professional channels. Her reaction to our evidence was coldly satisfied rather than surprised. David targets women with access to valuable intelligence, Patricia explained with prosecutorial precision. He exploits their professional positions to gather proprietary information, then uses emotional manipulation to provide systematic access to protected systems. Lauren represents his most sophisticated operation. Patricia's documentation revealed David had been conducting similar schemes across Connecticut's tech corridor, using his investment credentials to identify targets with access to corporate secrets. Her evidence, combined with mine, painted a devastating picture of systematic espionage disguised as wealth management services. Our alliance formed around shared betrayal and complementary expertise that would prove unstoppable. Patricia had legal authority, institutional knowledge of David's manipulation tactics, and regulatory contacts who specialized in financial crimes. I had real-time surveillance data, comprehensive security analysis, and technical expertise proving systematic intelligence gathering through objective measurements that no operational security could dispute. The evidence was overwhelming and professionally devastating. Network traffic analysis proving David's systematic data exfiltration from my protected systems. GPS correlation showing Lauren's coordination of his access during sensitive client deployments. Audio recordings of them discussing my security vulnerabilities while planning intelligence operations. Most damaging, financial records showing payments from competing firms for proprietary information about Fortune 500 protection protocols. As I prepared for comprehensive exposure, I realized Lauren's casual text about me being dead asleep had triggered counterintelligence investigation that would expose systematic espionage disguised as adultery. The perfect venue presented itself. Sterling Wealth Management's annual client gala, where David was scheduled to receive recognition for ethical leadership while Lauren coordinated the entire event as his secret accomplice. Patricia and I developed operational protocols ensuring both faced consequences for corporate intelligence theft, extending far beyond marital infidelity. The boring husband who designed security systems for Fortune 500 executives was about to demonstrate that the most dangerous adversaries are quiet technical experts who appear harmless, while possessing capabilities to completely destroy sophisticated intelligence operations. Lauren had whispered about me being dead asleep while coordinating systematic security compromise of my home and business operations. She was about to discover that challenging a security expert to detect insider threats while conducting intelligence gathering was the most expensive mistake anyone could make. The knocking had been just the beginning. Comprehensive exposure would follow with mathematical precision that would make their operational panic look like amateur reconnaissance. Jake Morrison and Dr. Patricia Chen transformed our shared commitment to exposing systematic intelligence theft into a federal-level counterintelligence operation. Combining NSA-grade technical expertise with corporate litigation authority to build an irrefutable case that would destroy Lauren and David's espionage network with surgical precision. Our coordination operated from Patricia's secure conference facility, where sensitive corporate investigations required comprehensive operational security and evidence preservation that could survive hostile federal scrutiny. The documentation we compiled was staggering. Systematic intelligence gathering spanning 18 months, proprietary data theft from Fortune 500 clients, and coordinated espionage operations disguised as wealth management services. My enhanced security analysis revealed the elegant sophistication of their criminal enterprise with forensic precision. Lauren would identify vulnerable periods in my client deployment schedule through administrative access to our shared calendar system. David would conduct systematic reconnaissance of my protected office space using professional surveillance equipment. Then they'd coordinate intelligence gathering operations disguised as romantic encounters. The stolen corporate data wasn't just personal betrayal. They were selling proprietary security protocols and client vulnerability assessments to competing firms through David's investment network, generating substantial profits from systematic corporate espionage. The digital evidence painted a comprehensive picture of industrial intelligence theft spanning months. Network traffic logs showed unauthorized data transfers from my protected systems during my federal contract deployments, encrypted communications discussing client security weaknesses and deployment schedules, and most damaging, detailed photographs of classified documents that had been systematically cataloged and transmitted to hostile competitors. They'd been using our home as an operational headquarters for corporate espionage, while I remained gratefully oblivious to the systematic compromise occurring in my own office. The breakthrough that would ensure their complete destruction came when Jake's intelligence contacts confirmed that the competing security firms were already subjects of ongoing FBI investigations into systematic espionage networks targeting Fortune 500 protection contractors. This isn't domestic adultery, Jake explained during our secure briefing in a room where phones went into Faraday pouches and whiteboards were wiped twice. They've been operating intelligence theft that's compromised national security protocols. Your evidence provides operational details federal investigators need to penetrate their network security. Patricia's financial forensics uncovered the true scope of David's criminal enterprise. He'd been exploiting his wealth management position to manipulate institutional client accounts through trades based on stolen intelligence, while Lauren provided insider information about my Fortune 500 clients' security vulnerabilities. This allowed David to predict and profit from cyber incidents before they became public knowledge, generating millions in illegal profits from pension funds and university endowments. Our alliance formed around complementary expertise that would prove unstoppable. Patricia had prosecutorial authority, institutional knowledge of financial crimes, and federal contacts who specialized in corporate espionage cases. I had real-time surveillance capabilities, comprehensive technical evidence, and security expertise that could prove systematic intelligence theft through objective measurements that no operational security could dispute. Jake provided the intelligence community connections that transformed our domestic case into a federal investigation with national security implications. The venue selection required strategic precision worthy of a federal sting operation. Sterling Wealth Management's annual Excellence in Ethics Gala was David's professional coronation, where Connecticut's financial elite would celebrate his leadership while completely unaware they were witnessing systematic criminal enterprise disguised as legitimate wealth management. Lauren had coordinated every detail as both event planner and secret accomplice, creating the perfect setting for comprehensive exposure witnessed by 400 industry professionals. For the gala preparation, we adopted a two-front strategy: social credibility collapse and institutional consequence. Patricia arranged for federal agents and SEC compliance officers to attend as legitimate guests, while I coordinated with the AV company's supervisor, someone I knew from hardening server rooms for my clients, to implement a silent failover on the ballroom's presentation system. The public inputs would remain Lauren's slides and David's growth charts. Beneath that, on a hidden circuit, sat our curated evidence package: Lauren's 3 3 a.m. Coast is clear text with full metadata, motion sensor logs showing David's unauthorized entry, and the devastating audio clips where they discussed my security protocols like shift schedules. My psychological transformation was complete and irreversible. The trusting husband who designed advanced security systems to protect our home had been replaced by something infinitely more dangerous. A counterintelligence expert with federal resources and technical capabilities for exposing sophisticated espionage networks. Lauren had exploited my trust to conduct systematic intelligence theft while I remained oblivious, but her casual confidence in my predictability had become her fatal operational vulnerability. The final week required performance art worthy of federal undercover operations. I conducted the dull habits that drive betrayers mad: cooking, cleaning, writing reports, and answering no questions beyond the weather. Lauren's attempts at damage control moved from indignation to tenderness to logistical queries, each one a low-stakes probe to see if my operational security had shifted. It had, but only inward. The night before the gala, she fussed over my cufflinks and insisted I didn't have to attend if I was tired. I smiled, thanked her, and showed her the monogrammed set she'd given me on our 5th anniversary. The most disarming countermeasure is showing your adversary a version of you they remember while bringing to bear capabilities they have never encountered. Saturday evening arrived with deceptive elegance that masked the approaching federal storm. The Sterling Wealth Management ballroom gleamed like a monument to financial sophistication, its crystal chandeliers and marble floors providing the Sterling Wealth Management Excellence in Ethics Gala hummed with sophisticated conversation as 400 Connecticut financial professionals anticipated David Chen's keynote address, completely unaware that their esteemed colleague was about to be exposed as an architect of systematic corporate espionage. Lauren moved through final presentation checks with practiced elegance, her navy silk gown catching crystal chandelier light as she coordinated what she believed would be her professional triumph. I positioned myself against the ballroom's back wall, a small remote device weighing heavy in my jacket pocket, Jake's technical masterpiece that would transform celebration into federal crime scene. At exactly 9:15 p.m., David approached the podium with characteristic confidence, accepting enthusiastic applause for his excellence in ethics recognition. He launched into his prepared keynote about trust as the foundation of financial excellence, his voice resonating with manufactured gravitas as he spoke passionately about protecting client interests and maintaining fiduciary responsibility. The irony was perfect. David celebrating ethical leadership while federal agents positioned throughout the venue prepared to arrest him for systematic intelligence theft. "Ladies and gentlemen," David announced with practiced charisma, gesturing toward presentation screens displaying Sterling's fabricated performance metrics. "Tonight we celebrate not just financial success, but the ethical foundation that makes institutional trust possible." His words carried across the ballroom, while Lauren beamed with pride from her position near the stage, completely unaware that her coordination of this elegant evening would become her professional execution. That's when I pressed the recess button that would end their criminal enterprise forever. The ballroom's presentation system executed a flawless failover, so smooth the AV technicians barely noticed, replacing David's growth charts with something entirely different. Lauren's text message appeared in high-definition clarity across multiple screens. "Coast is clear, he's dead asleep. Side entrance sensors disabled as discussed. Text when you're at the kitchen door." The timestamp read 3 a.m. with full forensic metadata proving systematic security compromise. The sophisticated conversation died instantly as 400 financial professionals processed the implications of coordinated intelligence operations displayed with technical precision. David's confident smile collapsed as he realized their private communications were being broadcast to Connecticut's financial elite. Lauren's face drained of color as she processed the comprehensive scope of their exposure, her hands trembling as she recognized the systematic documentation of their criminal enterprise. The evidence presentation continued with devastating efficiency. Motion sensor logs appeared next, showing David's unauthorized presence during my federal contract deployments, followed by network traffic analysis proving systematic data exfiltration from my protected systems. High-resolution security footage captured David photographing classified documents in my office, while GPS correlation data demonstrated Lauren's coordination of his access during sensitive client work. Each revelation built upon the previous one, creating an irrefutable case of corporate espionage disguised as wealth management services. These communications document systematic intelligence theft conducted through Sterling Wealth Management facilities. I announced from the back of the ballroom, my voice carrying with technical authority as I walked calmly toward the stage. The room turned toward me with recognition dawning across hundreds of faces. David Chen and Lauren Cole have been operating corporate espionage networks that compromised Fortune 500 security protocols for substantial illegal profits. That's when Dr. Patricia Chen stepped forward from the audience, her prosecutorial credentials immediately commanding attention. I'm Dr. Patricia Chen, David's wife and the federal attorney who's been building cases against corporate espionage networks operating through Connecticut's financial sector, she announced with clinical precision. Her revelation created controlled chaos as industry professionals realized they weren't witnessing marital drama, but systematic federal crimes that had operated under their professional protection. The evidence display reached its devastating climax with financial records showing payments from competing firms for proprietary security information, encrypted communications discussing Fortune 500 client vulnerabilities, and trading records proving David had profited from cyber incidents before they became public knowledge. The systematic intelligence gathering had generated millions in illegal profits while compromising national security contractors through stolen protocols. David attempted damage control through manufactured outrage. This is a personal vendetta using fabricated evidence to destroy professional reputations. But the technical documentation was overwhelming and professionally devastating. Lauren tried claiming misunderstanding about security protocols, but her recorded voice discussing my dead-asleep status while coordinating systematic security breaches made denial mathematically impossible. Federal agents revealed themselves throughout the ballroom, approaching the stage with badges and arrest warrants that transformed the elegant celebration into an active crime scene. David Chen and Lauren Cole, Agent Patricia Martinez announced with federal authority, "You are under arrest for conspiracy to commit corporate espionage, systematic intelligence theft, and violations of the Economic Espionage Act." The ballroom erupted in controlled chaos as Connecticut's financial establishment processed that they were witnessing federal arrests of intelligence thieves who had been operating systematic criminal enterprises under the guise of legitimate wealth management. Phones buzzed with regulatory alerts about asset freezes and compliance investigations, while industry leaders coordinated with federal prosecutors about victim notification procedures. Lauren's desperate appeal came as handcuffs clicked around her wrists. She turned toward me with trembling voice. "Nathan, please, this was David's manipulation. I never understood the legal implications of sharing your security information." But her recorded communications discussing my client deployment schedules and system vulnerabilities eliminated any possibility of innocent explanation. "Lauren, you provided real-time intelligence about my location and security protocols to facilitate unauthorized access to classified Fortune 500 data," I replied with measured precision. "This isn't marital problems. It's systematic espionage that compromised national security contractors and generated millions in illegal profits through stolen intelligence." As federal agents coordinated their transport to detention, David made one final attempt at professional deflection. "You can't criminalize legitimate business networking and client relationships." Agent Martinez's response eliminated any remaining credibility. "We can when those relationships involve systematic theft of classified security protocols and intelligence gathering that violates federal espionage statutes." The Sterling Wealth Management Gala concluded with both Lauren and David being escorted from the ballroom by federal agents, their arrests witnessed by financial industry colleagues who would ensure news of their espionage network spread throughout Connecticut's professional community within hours. The Excellence in Ethics Award remained abandoned on the podium, a monument to the gap between manufactured reputation and criminal reality. As they walked past me toward federal detention, Lauren's eyes met mine with desperate recognition. The operational confidence, the casual dismissal of my security expertise, the whispered coordination of systematic intelligence theft, all replaced by complete comprehension of her destruction. "You said the coast was clear," I said quietly, my voice carrying just far enough for her to hear. It never was. The federal agents had answered her 3 a.m. intelligence coordination with prosecutorial precision that would ensure decades of consequences for systematic espionage disguised as wealth management excellence. Both had panicked because the boring, predictable husband had become the most dangerous adversary they'd ever encountered. Armed with counterintelligence capabilities and unlimited expertise in detecting sophisticated insider threats through systematic investigation and federal accountability. The aftermath unfolded with the mechanical precision of a federal investigation. each consequence cascading into the next like perfectly documented evidence in a landmark corporate espionage case. Within 72 hours of the Sterling Wealth Management arrests, Lauren and David discovered that public humiliation was merely the opening statement in their systematic destruction. Monday morning brought federal arraignment proceedings where they faced charges of corporate espionage, systematic intelligence theft, wire fraud, money laundering, and violations of the Economic Espionage Act, charges carrying potential sentences exceeding 3 decades in federal prison. Asset forfeiture orders froze every account they'd touched, seized luxury items purchased with stolen intelligence profits, and locked the offshore structures they'd used to launder their criminal proceeds. Lauren's professional world evaporated with breathtaking federal efficiency. Sterling Wealth Management terminated her immediately after FBI evidence proved she'd been facilitating systematic corporate espionage while manipulating client relationships for intelligence access. The Connecticut Financial Services Commission permanently revoked her credentials when investigators revealed the full scope of her security breaches. Her carefully cultivated network of Fortune 500 executives now knew her name not for discretion, but for systematic security compromises that had exposed their corporate protection protocols to hostile competitors. David faced identical federal charges with enhanced penalties for his leadership role in the criminal enterprise. Federal prosecutors treated him as the operational architect of an espionage network that had compromised national security contractors through systematic theft of proprietary security protocols. His wealth management firm collapsed within days as institutional clients withdrew over $40 billion in managed assets, while his professional licenses were permanently revoked across multiple jurisdictions. But beyond the legal machinery, the human cost required careful attention. Jake and Emma, now 15 and 13, needed honest answers delivered with surgical precision. I explained that adults had made terrible choices that violated both trust and law, but that our family's foundation remained unchanged. Dr. Patricia Martinez structured our recovery with therapeutic precision. Individual sessions for each child, family meetings that belonged to the three of us, and careful boundaries that protected them from adult consequences while ensuring they understood that love transcends deception. Their resilience proved stronger than any intelligence operation. Jake approached the situation with scientific curiosity, asking thoughtful questions about security systems and human behavior that reminded me why I'd always enjoyed teaching him about protecting what matters most. Emma initially worried about family stability, but her concerns dissolved when I assured her that our home's security came from commitment, not technology. Within months, they were thriving again, protected by honest communication and unwavering support that no criminal enterprise could compromise. The plea negotiations were swift and merciless. Given overwhelming technical evidence and the public nature of their arrests, both defendants were advised to cooperate fully with federal prosecutors. Lauren received 20 years in federal prison with extensive restitution orders that would follow her for life. David, deemed the network's architect, received 28 years plus forfeiture of all assets derived from criminal enterprise. The sentences reflected not just their crimes, but the systematic breach of trust that had exploited national security vulnerabilities for personal profit. 6 months later, my professional life had transformed in unexpected ways. Rather than damaging my reputation, the experience had demonstrated my expertise in detecting sophisticated insider threats under extreme personal pressure. My residential security consulting firm expanded dramatically, securing exclusive contracts with Fortune 500 executives and federal agencies impressed by my methodical approach to counterintelligence operations. The insider threat detection protocol I developed became industry standard, while corporations across the Northeast sought comprehensive security audits to prevent internal threats that could trigger federal investigations. Dr. Patricia Chen and I had developed a relationship built on mutual respect and shared experience of systematic betrayal transformed into professional purpose. Our collaboration during the investigation revealed intellectual compatibility and moral alignment that transcended typical working relationships. She was brilliant, ethical, and possessed unwavering dedication to justice that resonated deeply with my security values. 10 months after Lauren's federal conviction, Patricia and I were married in a quiet ceremony that emphasized substance over spectacle, two people who'd learned that the strongest foundations are built through daily choices rather than dramatic promises. The moment of perfect closure came on a spring afternoon when Patricia and I were having lunch at the Greenwich Country Club, celebrating successful completion of a federal case that had dismantled a corporate espionage network targeting defense contractors. I sat comfortably reviewing security protocols while enjoying the satisfaction that comes from protecting national security through systematic investigation. Across the dining room, I spotted Lauren's mother sitting alone, her clothing reflecting the financial devastation that federal asset forfeiture had brought to their entire family. When she noticed me, her eyes filled with desperate recognition, and she started to approach seeking forgiveness for her daughter's federal crimes. I simply met her gaze with professional indifference, then returned to my security reports, dismissing her as completely as Lauren had once dismissed my expertise while conducting systematic intelligence operations. Some conversations aren't worth having when federal convictions have already provided definitive answers about accountability and consequences. There is a particular quiet that follows comprehensive proof, a stillness so complete that even apologies know better than to disturb it. Later that evening, Lauren sent a letter from federal detention. Nathan, I made terrible mistakes. I understand now that you were protecting corporate security while I was exploiting it. Can we discuss forgiveness? I filed the letter with other case documentation without responding. Systematic corporate espionage spanning years isn't a mistake, and intelligence theft isn't a marital problem that conversation can resolve. Justice had been served with mathematical precision, and that was sufficient. As Patricia and I walked home through Westchester's quiet streets, I reflected on how completely my life had transformed since that 3 a.m. security alert when Lauren's text revealed systematic intelligence operations disguised as adultery. I'd lost a wife built on systematic deception, but gained partnership built on shared professional values and ethical integrity. Most importantly, I'd learned that the strongest security systems are built on truth rather than technology, and that the most dangerous threats often come from those we trust most completely. Lauren had coordinated systematic intelligence theft while dismissing my security expertise, exploiting 14 years of trust to facilitate corporate espionage that compromised national security contractors. Federal prosecutors had answered her 3M operational confidence with legal precision that protected not just my business, but established precedents safeguarding other security professionals from similar exploitation. Her casual text about me being dead asleep had cost her 20 years in federal prison, the most expensive education about underestimating counterintelligence experts that anyone could receive. The knock at our door had made both panic because they'd finally encountered someone who understood that the most effective security operates silently until the moment it doesn't. Federal justice had followed with inevitable precision, and now our home hummed with the honest noise of people who choose truth over convenience.